Hi, welcome back to the newest installment of Follet, the video book. In this snippet, we're going to finish up chapter 12 and begin chapter 13. And wonder of wonders, there's pie and there's music, but there's nothing inappropriate, so the whole family can enjoy this one together. I know, it happens every once in a while. Gotta tell the story, and this is part of it. So if you're ready, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Here we go. Thank you for sharing that with me, Mary. Follet said it was beautiful. I want to share everything with you, you know, Follet, Mary told him, laying her left hand on Follet's thigh and resting her head on her left shoulder. Everything, always. Follet turned on the radio. Somehow those folks at WINC always knew just what to play. Nat Cole and Nelson Riddle knew just what to sing. You stepped out of a dream. You're too wonderful to be what you seem. Could there be eyes like yours? Could there be lips like yours? Could there be smiles like yours? Honest and truly, you stepped out of a cloud. I want to take you away from the crowd, and have you all to myself, alone and apart, out of a dream, safe into my heart. And Mary moved her hand from Follet's thigh to run her fingers through his hair and fondle his earlobe. Follet could have driven faster back to their room at the inn, but these moments were too precious to ignore, too special to waste. Follet drove on through the night with Mary by his side. Follet followed Route 29 around the southern edge of the lake through Hartwell and Flat Shoals and down the road a piece. WINC had been playing jazz ever since they had gotten into the car, and Mary had tuned on the radio, Miles mostly, dreamy songs for dreamweavers. Moon Dreams, Birth of the Cool, the octet arranged by Gil Evans, Follet enthused. They listened quietly for a while until Follet blurted out, "There's Barber's tuba and Mulligan's baritone, and there's Lee Konitz, just floating on top all by himself, yeah. And then Miles and the Cats come back in," Follet said, trying to find that note that didn't even exist. And they drove along, feeling almost as cool as Miles. When the next song began, Follet sang along to the trumpet's melody. Loaded with love, given by angels above. You know, so it would seem, everybody loves Nika's dream. Horace Silver's song for one of ours, Mary, Follet explained. Panonica del Königswarter, from the royal incubi of Europe. She gave up palaces and kings to serve the American kings, jazz musicians, and they loved her. Bird died in her house, and Monk lived in her home for years and at the end of his life. This song is a standard, covered by everyone from Art Blakey to Oscar Peterson to Wes Montgomery to Dee Dee Bridgewater. And the two drove on through Franklin Springs and Danielsville toward Athens. And when it began to rain, WINC played Rainy Day, Rain All Day. Ain't no use in getting uptight. Just let it groove its own way. Let it drain your worries away. Yeah, lay back and groove on a rainy day. Hey, lay back and dream on a rainy day. Let's stay the night in Athens, Follet suggested. As they drove into town, Mary said, "I'm hungry, Follet." "I know just the place," Follet told her. He drove around until he found it, the Varsity. We're not in Atlanta, but it's still the Varsity. They parked, walked in, and found a booth. Almost before they could intertwine their fingers in each other's, a waitress appeared. "Welcome to the Varsity. What y'all have?" she asked. Mary said, "I'd like fried peach pie a la mode and PC chocolate milk with ice." The waitress smiled. Follet said, "Fried apple pie, please, with a large frosted orange, and we'll split a slaw dog with a side of chili." The waitress nodded and left to place their order. Mary took Follet's right hand in both of hers. "Where will we stay, Follet?" "I have friends who live over on Pottery Street, about 15 minutes away, on the quiet side of UGA. You can walk to Dudley Park from there, and the greenways along the river are peaceful. We can rest up tonight and head for Alpharetta in Rome tomorrow." Mary squeezed his hand. "Sounds like a plan." The fried pies came. Each lay carefully on a generous scoop of vanilla ice cream. "First things first," Follet said, and cut into the crispy pie crust with his fork. The bubbling apple filling oozed out and melted the ice cream that it touched as it flowed to the bottom of the bowl. "Be careful, the filling's hot." Follet scooped up a steaming soup of apples and ice cream, blew softly on it, and greedily shoved it into his mouth. Mary followed Follet's cue. The hot peaches, and Mary swore that she tasted a hint of apricot mixed with sugar, paired with biscuit dough crust, were the perfect complement to the frozen creamy vanilla. Meri unwrapped a straw and put it into the glass of PC milk and stirred the ice before taking a sip. Just about heaven, Follet. Follet reached across the table and pulled Mary's bowl to him. Then he took his bowl and slid it in front of Meri. Then he switched their glasses. "Try this, Meri," Follet told her, scooped up a bite of fried peach pie and thrust it into his mouth. Mmm. Meri took Follet's advice and his pie. The two ate and traded and ate and drank some more and traded again. Pies were gone. Follet took his knife, reached for the slaw dog, and cut it in half. He placed the plate with the two half dogs on it between him and Meri, and then moved the bowl of chili beside it. "Here's dessert," he said, and grabbed one half of the dog. Follet took a big bite and closed his eyes as he chewed. Meri reached across the table and wiped some errant coleslaw from the side of Follet's mouth, and then licked her thumb. Indeed. Meri grabbed her dog, took a spoonful of chili, and drizzled it over the slaw. She opened wide and took a big bite. Follet watched hungrily. Then he ladled a spoonful of chili on the end of the dog where he had begun. Follet merrily gobbled up their greasy dessert. There was still a puddle of chili in the bowl by the time they had finished, and Follet scraped the sides with his spoon. Meri took matters into her own fingers and wiped the bowl clean, licking the spicy chili off her hands. She carefully attended to each individual digit, sticking each into her mouth and sucking them clean after she had licked them. Follet pointed to the left corner of his mouth. Meri took the hint and stuck her tongue out to snag the wayward blob. "Kiss me," she said. Follet smiled and leaned to Meri across the table, tasting the spice on her lips, and then, as she opened her mouth to his kiss, the warm flavor of her mixed with the warm earthiness of the cumin in the chili. "Let's find your friends, Follet," Meri suggested.